April 29, 1945, at Dachau concentration camp during its liberation. Soldiers of the US 7th Army Guard SS prisoners held in a coal yard. This scene shows the immediate aftermath of liberation, as Allied forces secure the camp and detain those responsible for its operation. In the 1940s, Mufti of Jerusalem Muhammad Amin al-Husseini stands with German and Bosnian SS members. An ardent supporter of Nazi Germany, the Mufti helped form the SS division from Yugoslav Bosnian Muslims, reflecting his wartime alignment and efforts during this period. On the Eastern Front in Russia during 1941, a German SS soldier stares down a nervous Soviet prisoner of war. This scene reflects the brutal conditions and power imbalance faced by captured soldiers during the early stages of the invasion, capturing the fear and uncertainty of wartime captivity. On April 19, 1945, SS women camp guards are paraded for work in clearing the dead at Bergen-Belsen. Following the camp's liberation, these former guards are compelled to perform the grim task of handling the victims, a stark consequence of their role in the atrocities committed there. A Waffen-SS motorcycle column stops in a street in 1940. Horse-mounted soldiers are visible in the background. This image depicts a pause in movement, illustrating the diverse military units operating during the early stages of World War II, combining mechanized and traditional transport. Members of the 36th Waffen SS Division Dirlewanger Brigade take cover and aim rifles in Warsaw during 1944. This unit, known for its extreme brutality, played a significant role in the violent suppression of the Warsaw Uprising. Waffen SS soldiers force a Jewish man from his bunker on 9 May 1943 during the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. The man emerges with hands raised from the rubble, a stark image of the brutal suppression of the desperate resistance against Nazi forces in the ghetto. At Auschwitz-Birkenau death concentration camp in Poland, 1943, a train arrives carrying prisoners. A large crowd stands near the tracks, some in striped uniforms, as guards oversee the scene. This moment depicts the forced arrival of victims at the camp during the Holocaust. Spectators and US Army military police gather outside the War Crimes Branch building in Dachau, Allied-occupied Germany, on July 16, 1946. 74 SS men face sentencing inside for their roles in perpetrating the Malmedy atrocity, part of post-war justice efforts. Friday, April 13, 1945. Jewish prisoners are liberated from a train transporting them from Bergen-Belsen to another death camp. This rescue saves them from their intended horrific destination, marking a moment of freedom during the end of the war. SS, Wehrmacht, and Soviet soldiers meet in the town of Brest, Poland, during September 1939. This historic meeting occurs after the joint invasion and partition of Poland, symbolizing the temporary cooperation between the two powers as outlined in the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. July 22, 1944, a group of SS auxiliaries from Auschwitz enjoys a day off. They stand together, smiling and relaxed, showing a moment of leisure for personnel associated with the notorious concentration and extermination camp. Maximilian Kolbe receives a gift from young seminarians in the 1930s. Later arrested for hiding Jews, he is sent to Auschwitz. After 3 escapes, the SS selects 10 to starve. Kolbe, not chosen, volunteers to replace a man with a family, leading prayers with the others until his death. A group of Jewish children sit crowded in a horse-drawn cart, transported through the cobblestone streets of Lodz, Poland in 1942. They are being taken to the Chelmno death camp, a site of mass murder during the Holocaust, part of the Nazi regime's persecution. Heinrich Himmler, leader of the SS, poses with his family in 1935. They stand outdoors for a portrait, showing a domestic side of the powerful Nazi figure. The image captures Himmler with his wife and children during this period, contrasting his private life with his significant public role. SS head Heinrich Himmler and Nazi leader Adolf Hitler walk past a formation of soldiers in Nuremberg in September 1935. This scene captures two key figures of the Nazi regime during a period of increasing power and control in Germany, set against the backdrop of the city known for the annual Nazi rallies. In October 1937, the Duke of Windsor inspects an SS honor guard at the castle of Krösensee, Pomerania. The Duke, briefly King of England before abdicating in December 1936, visits as a guest of A. Hitler, escorted by Robert Ley with a bow tie. Prisoners of war approach Camp O'Donnell in April 1942, reaching the end of the brutal Bataan Death March. Exhausted survivors walk along the dusty road towards the camp, some carrying the sick or injured on makeshift stretchers, depicting the harsh conditions faced. A Jewish woman pleads before an SS officer during a deportation. The date of this tragic scene is unknown. This image captures the desperation and terror faced by Jewish people during the Holocaust as they were forcibly removed from their homes and sent to unknown fates. Finnish and German troops gather in Suomussalmi in June 1941, listening to records played on a portable phonograph. Soldiers from both nations relax together, sharing a moment of respite from wartime duties by enjoying music in the Finnish landscape. At Mauthausen concentration camp in 1942, prisoners are forced to carry granite blocks, often weighing as much as 110 pounds, up the 186 steps of the quarry, known as the Stairs of Death. Exhausted prisoners collapse and fall on others, creating a horrific domino effect. Lauri Törni, a Finnish Waffen-SS volunteer, stands for a portrait in 1941. This soldier later becomes one of the main strategists for the US military during the Vietnam War, reflecting a complex military career across different conflicts and nations. The pioneering SS Great Britain passes under the iconic Clifton Suspension Bridge in 1970. She makes her momentous return to Bristol, the city where she was built. This event marks a significant moment in maritime history, bringing the historic ship home after decades away. Near Passau, Germany, in 1945, a captured Wehrmacht soldier identifies an SS trooper as one who shot US Army prisoners in Malmedy, Belgium. This identification occurs after these men were captured by the 3rd US Army during the Battle of the Bulge. SS members practice fencing in Germany during the 1930s. Wearing protective gear and holding foils, they engage in a training session. The distinctive SS symbol is displayed prominently in the background, highlighting the organization's activities during this period of increasing Nazi power. German SS troops relax on the grass in Berlin during the 1936 Olympic Games. Their helmets are neatly lined up nearby. This scene captures members of the SS, a significant part of the Nazi regime, present at the international event used by the government for propaganda and image control. German SS soldiers stand with civilians in Haarlem, Netherlands on May 15, 1940, during World War II. Civilians gather on steps in the street, observing the soldiers' presence. This scene captures a moment in the early period of the German occupation of the Netherlands. At Janowska concentration camp in 1944, forced workers stand next to a machine used to crush human bones. This is part of Action 1005, where German SS units remove traces of war crimes committed during the Soviet Union occupation before the Red Army arrives. Irma Grace, known as the Beautiful Beast, stands with Joseph Kramer, commandant of Auschwitz and Belsen concentration camps. Grace, aged 22, was hanged in 1945, going to her death unrepentant and smiling. Kramer was hanged in 1946. They are pictured together, figures from a dark chapter of history. Muslim members of the Waffen-SS 13th Division are at prayer during their training in Germany in 1943. They kneel together outdoors, performing their religious observance amidst the military environment. This scene shows the complex and varied composition of forces involved in World War II. Newly liberated inmates at Bergen-Belsen concentration camp on April 16, 1945, chase and beat a former capo. Capos were prisoners assigned by SS guards to supervise forced labor, picked for their brutality towards fellow prisoners, and received additional privileges. A German soldier, caught by the French resistance, is led through the streets of Saint-Mihiel, France, in September 1944. He walks surrounded by jeers and taunts from the crowd, reflecting the local reaction during liberation. At Bergen-Belsen, Germany, on April 20, 1945, British soldiers supervised German SS guards. Exhausted from forced labor clearing the bodies of the dead, the guards are allowed a brief rest. They are forced to take this rest by lying face down in one of the empty mass graves. Happy Jewish refugees aboard SS St. Louis cheer in June 1939 as their liner is allowed to berth at Antwerp, Belgium. Denied entry in Cuba, the United States and Canada, this temporary stop offers relief. Many of these passengers would tragically perish during the Holocaust. Heinrich Himmler runs across the finish line on an outdoor track at the SS Officers' School in Bad Tolz, Germany, in 1935. This image captures a moment of physical activity at a significant training facility for the SS, the Nazi regime's powerful organization. Jews are being rounded up in the Warsaw Ghetto in 1943. Nazi soldiers force them to raise their hands, preparing them for transport to a death camp. Families, including children, faced this brutal deportation during the Holocaust, a tragic moment in the ghetto's history. SS auxiliaries and other Auschwitz personnel pose and laugh at a resort in 1942. They enjoy leisure time away from the camp, highlighting the stark reality of their lives compared to the suffering occurring nearby. This scene captures a moment of relaxation for those involved in the camp's operations.